In between all of the moves that the West Virginia University football and basketball teams are making in and out of the transfer portal, while hearings continue regarding the House case nationally, the West Virginia baseball team continues to chug along and, as some might say, are en fuego. Despite being spurned by D1Baseball.com's top 25 national rankings. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Carson Fox for another edition of Fox on West Virginia Mountaineer Sports, and we are talking baseball. I know there was a spring showcase this past Saturday, but because it wasn't streamed on ESPN Plus or WVUSports.com or anywhere else, only the people that were at Milan Puskar Stadium saw the game. I thank all the media members out there who were posting clips here and there on social media, but because I had to work this past Saturday, didn't get to see the game in person myself, I really don't feel credible enough to bring you any sort of analysis from that game. I'll bring you some roster management news when the transfer portal closes April 25th, but for now, all eyes of Mountaineer Nation are on this West Virginia baseball team, which is off to a great start, 27-4, winners of 7 straight games, including very satisfying non-conference victories over the Ohio State Buckeyes and dreaded Pitt Panthers. West Virginia currently sits second in the Big 12 conference standings with a 7-3 conference record, 70% winning percentage, just above a cluster of 8-4 teams that are all tied for third. And if you were caught up in the Ross Hodge hiring plus the end of the spring football season with that blue gold showcase that I spoke of last Saturday, here are a few reasons why you should make plans over the next couple of weeks to get out to Kendrick Family Ballpark or watch on ESPN Plus to support these Mountaineers as they hit crunch time of the regular season. We're past February, we're past March, we're into April, just about another month or so of regular season baseball before it's Big 12 tournament time. So this, number one, first and foremost, this team puts on an offensive clinic, averaging 9 runs per game. There are only 3 teams in Division I who have scored more runs than West Virginia in as many or fewer games that the Mountaineers have played. They're tied for 14th in the country with a 320 bad team batting average, led by Skylar King, who is 11th in the Big 12 with a 365 batting average. Jace Reinhardt and Chase Swain are tied for 14th. Spencer Barnett tied for 26th. There are some heavy hitters in this lineup, and they kept it very interesting this past weekend in that Utah series at home. Also, the Mountaineers have maybe found their ace, maybe found their Friday night starter in pitcher Griffin Kern, who put on a show last Friday night through some inclement weather, I might add, early on in the contest, while battling one of the Big 12's best in starting pitcher Coulter McAnally. For Utah, Kern went 6 2/3 innings, allowing just 3 earned runs on 6 hits and a walk, while striking out a season-best 14 of the 24 batters he faced for the night. Kern left, unfortunately, with a no decision, better than a loss, but he definitely deserved a win. But now he's 6th in the Big 12 in strikeouts, 9th in ERA, while 13th in innings pitched. Also, West Virginia has received some solid relief pitching performances by its bullpen too over these last 7 games that have all resulted in wins. Starting it off, Benjamin Hudson against Pitt. 5 innings pitched, just 1 earned run allowed on 2 hits and 2 walks with a hit batsman while striking out 4, picked up the win. The Panthers had no answers for him in that road contest for them, in which West Virginia was able to come off with a 10-run rule early victory in that one. Reese Bassinger relieved Gavin Van Kempen in Game 2 of the Utah series last Saturday, the first game of a doubleheader against the Utes. Bassinger went 4 2/3 shutout innings, allowing just 3 hits with a hits batsman, picking up the win. And then after Carson Estrich had an uncharacteristic start to game number 3, the second of Saturday's doubleheader, Jack Cartsonas went 3 1/3 innings, punching out 6 while allowing just 1 earned run on 3 hits with a hit batsman. So if you want to be a naysayer like D1Baseball.com and say West Virginia has been facing teams without a pulse, then so be it. But I really, really like what I've seen in all phases of the Mountaineers game. Armani Guzman maybe having the catch of the year against Ohio State along the right field fence. What a web gem was tweeted by MLB the following day and other different social media platforms on the internet. Grant Hussey had 2 home runs in the Utah series. His second, I'm telling you, on Saturday was just an effortless flick of the wrist like an old Cincinnati Reds and Chicago White Sox first baseman Adam Dunn. I feel like I see so many similarities in their hitting style and approach. Jace Reinhardt continues to stay hot. Brody Kresser was outstanding against the Utes, 6 for 13 at the plate with 2 extra base hits, including a home run. Just a line drive laser out in left field. 5 RBIs and 4 runs scored. He's an awesome infielder for this Mountaineer offense. And, might I add, West Virginia swept the series despite the continued absence of Sam White with a shoulder injury, and Logan Save sat out Saturday's doubleheader, also apparently with a shoulder injury. So while I'm really pissed at Penn State for canceling or possibly canceling Tuesday's home game, I know it was announced by both parties that the game was canceled, and Penn State added in their press release because of cold weather. I'm calling BS on that. I think this was Penn State's cancellation. They've been doing funny things for a few years now. I would go on record and say, well, West Virginia should at least get half of their gate for their game on April 22nd. There's no way that Penn State, a geographic rival, just because it's cold. I know that you're not supposed to hit composite bats in under 50 degrees, but come on. I played in so many games growing up of under 50 degrees. Like, that's just BS. You can't tell me that you can't come down from State College, Pennsylvania. I mean, that's on you then. If you can't make that drive, which I know is just an arm and a leg through central Pennsylvania to get over to Morgantown, but you got those fancy schmancy Big Ten money jets. So how can you not fly if you don't want to do sort of a drive down to Morgantown and play that game? But then, in 3 weeks you're going to ask the Mountaineers to come up to State College, and you canceled out that revenue against a geographic rival. We saw how Mountaineer fans filled out Kendrick Family Ballpark for Pitt. I'm sure with how hot they are. I know, weather was cold, but come on. I think it would have been a decent crowd, despite the weather, to see this baseball team for how well it's playing right now against, again, Penn State, one of West Virginia's top 5 rivals. So, in college baseball is also somewhat a game of momentum. I just feel like when teams get hot, especially at the plate, they can continue that into the rally. And Penn State's got a pretty decent resume for what West Virginia needs to pick up some quality games for their resume for the NCAA tournament. So, but this may be a perfect time for West Virginia to rest, gear up for this pivotal month stretch, get Save back to 100% health, and see where he at on Samuel White. Don't know. Haven't had any sort of update from head coach Steve Sabins on his availability for the next month or where he's at in his recovery process. They said 11th in the country right now, according to Perfect Game, 20th in the country according to the National College Baseball Writers Association, NCBWA, and 23rd according to USA Today Sports. So I think this team's goal, I can't believe I'm saying this, may have now moved to hosting a regional, which would be incredibly impressive given the retiring of head coach Randy Mazey, J.J. Weatherholt getting drafted in Major League Baseball's first round. West Virginia practically lost its entire, it lost its entire pitching rotation from a year ago, and a guy who was perhaps going to be your number 2 starter in Max Yeel went down preseason with Tommy John. So, wow, to not skip a beat really from the Randy Mazey era to potentially get to a spot of hosting a regional, that's saying something. Some early projections of the NCAA tournament have them in a 2 seed of what all teams, but North Carolina, baby, who they faced in the Super Regionals last year, also alongside Kentucky, who West Virginia played a few seasons ago and got waxed in that series down in Lexington. But the criticism from D1Baseball.com is just the quality of the win. So I talked about this in my preseason show. If it wasn't going to come down to quality, then quantity would have to be the name of the game. So you have to continue to stack series wins against the Big 12 and even get sweeps against the bottom half of the Big 12. And looking at their schedule for the rest of the way, this weekend on the road at Houston, who's 19-13, 5-7, ninth in the Big 12. Next weekend, it's actually a Thursday, Friday, Saturday. They're off for Easter against Cincinnati, 19-13, 6-6. In Big 12 play, 7th in the Big 12, so not as bad, a little bit higher in the standings with nearly identical records as Houston. The weekend after that, so NFL Draft Weekend, April 25th through 27th at UCF, the Golden Knights are terrible, second last in the Big 12, 18-14, 3-9 in conference play. The weekend after that, I can't believe how bad the Red Raiders are. At home, thankfully, May 2nd through the 4th. Texas Tech is 9-20, 5-7 in Big 12 play, 10th in the Big 12. So they the Mountaineers finished strong on the road at Kansas State, May 9th through 11th, who's tied for 3rd in the Big 12, one of those 4 8-4 teams I mentioned on the early onset. And the finale at home in Morgantown against the Jayhawks at Kansas, who are an impressive 27-7, 9-3 in conference play, currently the Big 12 standings leader. So not a lot of opportunity for West Virginia to change a perception that may already be established by the powers that be at baseball, the D1Baseball.com. But these other outlets got to continue, fans out there, to kind of push that narrative that West Virginia is for real, and only by winning, only by doing the kinds of things that West Virginia did this past weekend against Utah, have impressive pitching performances, both from your starters and your relievers, and stay hot at the plate. That's the only way to quiet the naysayers and earn some respect. Because, by all accounts, and the Big 12 may be down perception-wise. Just the way that Oklahoma State's kind of started off the year. Arizona still, I think just dropped out of the national rankings, but kind of hovering in there. So pretty easy schedule so far. 2 of the 3 games, as I mentioned about that Oklahoma State team, unfortunately were canceled. That would have been really nice to add to West Virginia's resume. And same with Penn State. Just can't believe that the Nittany Lions went out there and just canceled because of cold. I mean, I may be wrong on this, but I feel like I'm reading between the lines, and that was some funny business that, Ren Baker, Steve Sabins would not want to cancel that game, that was Penn State's doing because they were the road team and didn't want to have to make that trip. So also down the stretch in the non-conference, 2 against Marshall, 1 in Charleston, and 1 down there in Huntington, at Penn State, as I mentioned, on April 22nd, and also at Pitt. So I think West Virginia definitely can get to 4th or maybe even better, where it was picked in the preseason poll was 4th, and improve upon last season's win total of 36 games. So they would have to really have a fall from grace over this course of this next 5 weeks or so to fall apart, go 27-4, and then finish fewer than 36 wins or fewer. So continue to stack wins, get behind this team. I hope I'm doing a pretty good job in bringing it to you of how they're doing, and some of the players. If you're not kind of a casual or just getting into it college baseball fan, it's very fun. It is very different, I feel like, from the major league game. Use of relievers for some. I mean, it kind of depends upon game flow and how the pitcher is doing, but a lot of different relievers. More wild pitches, hit batsmen's walks, so not as tight, around the plate as Major League. But it all depends. But I would just say overall, in watching enough Mountaineer games now, stolen bases, you can create havoc on the base paths if you can run, and then just tattooing the ball. So, seeing West Virginia, I know their home run numbers aren't national. I think they only have 36 as a team for the whole year, but man, they were just lighting it up over this series against Utah and all the games I was able to tune in for. So love to know your thoughts. If you follow West Virginia, baseball, if you're a diehard or just kind of getting into it, as I have over the last few years and following them no, I wouldn't say few, at least half dozen or so, trying to, follow them more closely on a game by game basis. The coverage of it, I'm telling you, just the invention of ESPN Plus and having all of these games now streamed, to be able to watch them, all the social media coverage just seems as if college baseball, I would say in that last half decade or so, has really been on the rise, half decade to a decade. Has been on the rise, so it's been fun to tune into this team. So what do you think of them? Do you think they've just taken advantage of kind of an easy schedule so far and just taking care of business, which at the end of the day is what you have to do? Like, no one is having any sort of regrets or having complaints about wins when you're against a soft schedule. What do you think of it the way out? I know the pitching can be a little bit, scary when you see Carson Ettridge kind of his ERA take a dip. Robbie Porco doesn't seem like he's in the weekend rotation very much. Gavin Van Kempen's ERA is inflated just a bit. So starting pitching may be something still to continue to watch, but I like what I'm seeing out of the Mountaineers in relievers kind of supporting the Mountaineers starting pitching and the offense staying hot. So you are playing some more higher scoring games, it feels like, or just clutch, timely hits with runners on base. So love what I'm seeing out of these Mountaineers and can't wait to follow them over the next 5 weeks and see what they can achieve this season. So love to know your thoughts. Leave your comments here on YouTube. Like this video so more Mountaineer fans can see it across YouTube, and love to have you a subscriber. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell your dog that I do this each and every week and have a lot of fun doing it. So hail West Virginia. Let's go.